The crowd's roar was deafening. Alien voices of every pitch and tone echoed through the massive arena, mixing with the hum of energy shields that surrounded the battlefield. Kyle, a young human, stood at the edge of the sandy pit, feeling the rough grains crunch beneath his boots. He could see thousands of eyes staring at him, some curious, some mocking, and some filled with anticipation. Kyle had traveled far, farther than any human had gone before. The journey from Earth to Zorath had been long and exhausting, but he had prepared for this moment for years. He was not just here for sport. He was here to prove that humans were more than fragile creatures that aliens often assumed them to be. Humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient. Kale's heart raced not from fear but from excitement. The arena announcer's booming voice shook the air. "Today a new challenger enters our arena. Witness the strength of the mighty Thrax, the conqueror of 100 battles." The crowd erupted again. Thrax, a towering alien warrior, stepped forward. His skin was a deep shade of blue with thick scales running across his chest and arms. His eyes glowed with an inner fire and his muscles bulged beneath armor that looked almost part of his body. Kale had seen images of Thrax before, but nothing compared to the reality. The alien's presence alone demanded respect, and perhaps a little fear. Thrax laughed, a low rumbling sound that made Kale's chest tighten, not with fear, but with determination. "A human," the warrior sneered, his voice carrying through the arena. "What can such a fragile species hope to do against me? You should leave before you embarrass yourself." Kale took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I am not here to embarrass myself," he said firmly. His voice carried through the arena, clear and confident. "I am here to prove that humans are not weak. I will face you, Thrax, and I will show you what we are capable of." There was a pause. The crowd murmured in surprise. Humans rarely fought in these arenas. They were seen as clever but physically limited. Yet here stood Kale, small by comparison, daring to challenge one of the strongest creatures in the galaxy. Thrax's eyes narrowed. A challenge was a challenge, and he never backed down. "Very well, human. Step into the arena. Let us see if you are worth my time." The arena doors opened and Kale stepped onto the battlefield. The ground was uneven, with rocky formations and shifting sand that would test agility as much as strength. Energy barriers hummed along the edges, preventing anyone from leaving until the fight was over. Kale noticed the crowd leaning in, anticipating the clash. Thrax approached with slow, deliberate steps, each one shaking the ground. His confidence was unshakable, his experience unmatched. Kale, however, felt a quiet confidence of his own. He had trained for this. Years of martial arts, survival training, and strategic thinking had prepared him for this moment. He knew he could not match Thrax in raw strength, but strength alone would not win this fight. The battle began. Thrax lunged first, a massive arm swinging toward Kale with terrifying speed. Kale rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the blow. The sand erupted as the alien's fist crashed into the ground. Kale felt the force shake his bones, but he pushed forward, dodging and weaving with agility that surprised even himself. Thrax swung again and again, each attack faster than the last. Kale ducked, twisted, and leapt, using every ounce of his training. The crowd gasped at his movements, whispering among themselves. No human had ever fought like this before. His smaller size allowed him to move quickly, to anticipate Thrax's powerful but predictable attacks. For a moment, Kale had an idea. He ran toward a rocky outcrop and used it as leverage, propelling himself over Thrax's head. The alien turned just in time to block Kale's landing, but the human's quick thinking had earned him a momentary advantage. Kyle landed gracefully, keeping his balance and watching for the next move. The fight continued, a dance of strength versus speed, power versus wit. Thrax roared in frustration as Kale dodged and countered, refusing to be overwhelmed. The human's movements were precise, almost artistic, each step calculated. Kale felt his heart pounding, but not from fear. This was exhilaration. This was the moment he had trained for. Suddenly, Kale felt a surge of energy from his left arm. The tattoo hidden beneath his sleeve pulsed faintly, a pattern of intricate lines and symbols that glowed softly in response to his excitement. The tattoo was a secret, a mark of his heritage that few humans even knew existed. It was said to carry the strength of his ancestors, warriors who had once protected their people against impossible odds. Kale's eyes narrowed. He decided it was time to reveal part of his secret. Rolling up his sleeve, he let the crowd and Thrax catch a glimpse of the glowing tattoo. The arena fell silent for a brief moment. Thrax's eyes widened in recognition, a flicker of unease crossing his face. He had faced many warriors, many species, but none like this. The tattoo seemed to hum with energy, almost responding to Kale's determination. It gave him focus, heightened his reflexes, and reminded him of the legacy he carried. Thrax hesitated, unsure how to respond. He was strong, yes, but Kale was no ordinary human. Kale lunged again, this time with more confidence, weaving through Thrax's defenses with a combination of speed, strategy, and instinct. Each movement was deliberate, designed to exploit the smallest openings. Thrax swung wildly, frustration building as his opponent evaded each attack with seeming ease. The crowd, initially skeptical of a human's ability, began to cheer. Whispers of admiration spread like wildfire. Humans were rare in the arena, but here was one who could match and perhaps surpass the mightiest warrior in the galaxy. Kale felt a swell of pride, but he did not let it distract him. Focus was everything. Minutes passed, though it felt like seconds. Sweat ran down Kale's face, muscles burned, but he pushed forward, refusing to yield. He had come too far to back down now. Thrax, growing increasingly frustrated, began to miscalculate his attacks, giving Kale more opportunities to counter. Finally, Kale saw an opening. Thrax had overextended a swing, leaving his left side exposed. Kale seized the moment, darting in and tapping a precise pressure point on the alien's arm. Thrax stumbled, barely keeping his balance. The crowd gasped. Even the seasoned warriors in the audience had never seen such precision from a human. Kale stood his ground, breathing heavily but steady. This is only the beginning, he thought, knowing the fight was far from over. The tattoo on his arm pulsed again, a quiet reminder of the strength flowing through him. Thrax glared at Kyle, his pride wounded. He had underestimated a human, a species he had considered weak and insignificant. The alien's eyes narrowed, a new determination forming. This challenge had become personal, and he would not allow it to end like this. Kale, sensing the change in Thrax, prepared himself. The first part of the battle was over, but the real test was about to begin. He had shown that humans could fight with cunning, agility, and courage. Now he needed to prove that there was more to him and to humanity than any alien could imagine. The arena buzzed with anticipation. The first clash had ended, but the story was just beginning, and Kale, with his hidden tattoo and unwavering spirit, was ready for whatever came next. The arena vibrated with energy, the air thick with anticipation. Kale stood in the center, his heartbeat steady but strong. Thrax loomed before him, his massive frame tense and ready. The first clash had ended with Kale showing his speed and cunning, but now the real challenge began. Thrax's pride was wounded, and the alien warrior would not make the same mistake twice. Thrax's deep voice echoed across the arena. "Human, you have surprised me, but surprise alone will not save you." He lunged forward with blinding speed, his scaled fists aiming straight for Kyle. Kyle ducked, rolling to the side as sand erupted around him. He had to be careful. One direct hit from Thrax could shatter bones, yet Kale had something the alien did not anticipate: human unpredictability. He danced across the battlefield, using the uneven terrain to his advantage, leaping over rocky outcrops and sliding under sweeping attacks. The crowd watched in awe. Aliens of all shapes and sizes had gathered to witness this spectacle. Many had never seen a human fight up close. The whispers began. Is this human truly the one they call fragile? Kale noticed the pattern in Thrax's attacks. The alien relied heavily on brute strength, swinging with raw power but little flexibility. Kale used this to his advantage. Timing was everything. With a swift movement, he dodged another massive punch and tapped Thrax's elbow, not to harm but to destabilize. Thrax stumbled slightly and Kale's eyes sparkled with determination, but Kale knew this was only the beginning. Thrax's strength was immense, and if he misjudged the next attack, it could be over in a single moment. Kale focused, taking deep breaths, letting his instincts guide him. The tattoo on his arm pulsed faintly, a quiet reminder of the strength that flowed through him, a gift of his human ancestors, a mark of warriors long past. Thrax roared, swinging his fists in a furious combination. Kale barely avoided one swing, then another, feeling the wind from each hit brush against his face. He ducked under a rising fist, rolled and kicked off a rocky ledge to propel himself into a high leap. From above, Kale landed behind Thrax and delivered a precise strike to the alien's shoulder. The impact made a deep thud and Thrax staggered. The audience gasped. Even the most experienced warriors among them had never seen such agility combined with precision. Kale smiled faintly, though he did not let it show too much. Pride could lead to mistakes, and he could not afford even one. Thrax's eyes narrowed. The alien had faced countless opponents, but none like this human. Kale moved with a combination of speed, thought, and unpredictability that made him difficult to read. The tattoo's faint glow now pulsed in rhythm with Kale's movements, almost as if it were alive, guiding him and enhancing his reflexes. "You are fast, human," Thrax growled, his voice low and dangerous. "But speed alone cannot defeat me." Kale nodded internally, agreeing with the statement. He knew he could not rely solely on speed. He needed strategy, ingenuity, and adaptability, the very qualities humans were known for. The battlefield shifted suddenly. Large panels in the arena walls slid open, revealing obstacles and traps. Lava pits bubbled up in sections of the arena floor, while shifting platforms created a constantly moving surface. The arena itself was a weapon, designed to test every aspect of a warrior's skill. Kale's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly adapted. Humans were survivors. Instinct and quick thinking had kept his ancestors alive against impossible odds, and now they were keeping him alive in this alien arena. He adjusted his footing, watching Thrax carefully. The alien's massive form made it difficult to navigate the shifting terrain, giving Kale an advantage. Thrax charged, swinging his fists with lethal precision. Kale ducked, leapt, and rolled, narrowly avoiding each blow. He used the shifting platforms to his advantage, propelling himself higher and gaining better positions to attack. With each strike he avoided, Kale learned more about Thrax's movements. There was a rhythm, a predictability hidden beneath the alien's power. Kale spotted an opening. Thrax had grown overconfident and his left side was slightly exposed. Kale dashed forward, striking the alien's arm with a series of rapid, precise blows. Thrax stumbled backward, anger flashing in his glowing eyes. The audience erupted in excitement. Aliens who had doubted humans now whispered among themselves, astonished by Kale's skill. Some had never seen a human move with such speed and intelligence in combat. Even Thrax's supporters began to murmur, noticing the human's extraordinary potential. Kale's tattoo glowed brighter as he moved. Its runes seemed to resonate with his determination, heightening his reflexes and focus. He could feel the strength of his ancestors guiding him, reminding him that humans were more than they appeared to be. Thrax roared in frustration and swung with greater force. Kale barely dodged, feeling the rush of air from the blow brush against his face. The alien's attacks became more desperate, less precise. Kale smiled faintly. Desperation revealed weakness, and he intended to exploit it. With a quick maneuver, Kyle leapt onto a platform, using it as leverage to spring himself higher into the air. He twisted mid-flight and landed behind Thrax again, striking the alien's shoulder with precise timing. Thrax stumbled, losing balance on the uneven terrain. Kale could see the flicker of doubt in Thrax's glowing eyes. The alien had faced countless opponents and had rarely encountered someone who could match his skill. Kyle knew he had the upper hand, but he did not let himself feel overconfident. The fight was far from over. He ran along a shifting platform, leapt over a lava pit, and slid under a swinging mechanical arm designed to strike any warrior who misstepped. The audience was on their feet, cheering for the human who seemed to defy expectations. Kale's movements were fluid, almost like a dance. He did not merely fight. He adapted, improvised, and overcame. Thrax's frustration was evident now. The alien's pride had been wounded, and every attack was becoming less controlled. Kale noticed a small vital opening, a spot just under Thrax's left arm. With a burst of speed, Kyle dashed forward and tapped the spot just enough to destabilize but not harm. Thrax staggered and Kale rolled back to safety. The crowd went silent for a moment, then erupted in thunderous applause. Aliens whispered to one another, amazed that a human could challenge the mightiest warrior in the arena. Kale felt a surge of pride, but he kept his focus. The tattoo on his arm pulsed, glowing softly, reminding him of the power he carried and the responsibility it represented. Thrax roared, swinging wildly in a mixture of anger and frustration. Kale dodged, leapt, and countered, each movement precise and calculated. The battle had shifted from raw power to a test of strategy, intelligence, and human ingenuity. Kale realized that Thrax's greatest weakness was not strength, but predictability. The alien relied on brute force, believing it would always be enough. Kale had learned to read the patterns, to exploit mistakes, and to stay one step ahead. Each movement was deliberate, each attack carefully timed. The arena seemed to pulse with energy, responding to the intensity of the battle. Kale felt the tattoo's glow brighten, almost as if it were alive. He could sense the strength of his ancestors flowing through him, guiding his movements, sharpening his instincts, and giving him confidence. Thrax paused for a brief moment, his chest heaving. He had underestimated the human's ability, and now the realization hit him. Kale was not just fast or clever. He was extraordinary. The tattoo was not just a symbol. It was a conduit of power, a legacy of human resilience and courage. Kale took a deep breath, centering himself. He knew the fight was far from over, but he had proven something important. Humans were more than they appeared to be. With skill, courage, and determination, they could stand toe-to-toe with the mightiest warriors in the galaxy. Thrax's eyes narrowed, and a new determination burned within him. The battle had just begun, and Kale would need every ounce of his training, skill, and ancestral strength to survive what was coming next. The arena held its breath, watching the human and alien face each other, ready for the next clash. Kale's tattoo glowed faintly, a promise of power, heritage, and potential. And with that, the second stage of the battle was set, the test of wits, agility, and courage that would decide more than just victory. The arena seemed to hum with anticipation, almost alive with energy. Kale stood at the center of the battlefield, his breathing steady, his eyes sharp. Thrax, the towering alien warrior, glared at him, muscles tense and ready to strike. The first two stages of the fight had tested Kale's agility, wit, and courage. But now something deeper was about to awaken. Kale felt it in his arm first, a faint warmth pulsing from the tattoo hidden beneath his sleeve. He flexed his muscles slightly, watching the glowing lines ripple across his skin. It was subtle, but he knew what it meant. The tattoo was responding to his focus, his determination, and perhaps the intense energy of the arena itself. It had been passed down through generations, a mark of legendary humans who had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. Thrax's roar cut through Kale's thoughts. "You are strong, human," the alien bellowed. "But even strength has limits." With that, Thrax charged, his massive legs propelling him forward with terrifying speed. Kale tensed, ready to dodge, but he felt something different this time, an almost instinctive understanding of the alien's movement. As Thrax swung his arm down, Kale twisted to the side, the tattoo glowing brighter with each precise motion. He felt a surge of energy flow through him, enhancing his reflexes. Each dodge became faster, each counterstrike more accurate. Kale realized he was no longer just reacting. He was anticipating, almost predicting Thrax's attacks before they happened. The audience gasped. Aliens whispered among themselves, astonished by the human's sudden increase in skill. Many had seen powerful warriors before, but this human seemed almost inhuman. Kale moved with a rhythm that no alien could easily follow, his speed and precision magnified by the mysterious energy of the tattoo. Thrax swung again, powerful enough to crush stone, but Kale danced out of range. Using a combination of flips, rolls, and sudden lunges, he managed to strike Thrax's side multiple times. Each tap was calculated not to cause serious harm, but to destabilize. The alien stumbled, his pride wounded as well as his body. Kale's mind raced. He had always known the tattoo carried power, but he had never fully tapped into it until now. The energy wasn't just in his arm. It seemed to flow through his entire body. His senses sharpened, his reflexes accelerated, and he felt a strange connection to the battlefield itself. He could sense the vibrations in the ground, the shifting of the platforms, and even the subtle movements of Thrax's muscles. The alien roared in frustration. "What are you?" Thrax bellowed. "No human can move like this." Kale did not answer aloud. He let his actions speak for him. With a sudden burst of speed, he leapt onto a rocky ledge, using it to spring himself into a higher position. From there, he could see Thrax's weak points more clearly, the slight lag in his swings, the uneven weight distribution, the tiny openings that only a human could exploit. Kale's pulse quickened with excitement. This was what he had trained for, what he had dreamed of since leaving Earth. Humans were underestimated everywhere in the galaxy, yet here he was, standing against the mightiest warrior on Zorath. And now, with the tattoo's power, he was beginning to show the true potential of his species. Thrax lunged again, but Kale was ready. He sidestepped, grabbed a swinging platform, and used it to vault behind the alien. He landed softly, barely making a sound, and tapped Thrax's shoulder with a precise strike. The alien staggered, and Kale felt the rush of the crowd's amazement wash over him. The tattoo pulsed brighter. Kale felt a surge of focus and clarity. He realized that the tattoo did more than enhance physical skill. It connected him to the legacy of his ancestors. Every movement he made was guided by generations of warriors who had faced impossible odds. He could feel their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering determination. Thrax's breathing was heavy, his massive body tense with frustration. The alien had faced countless warriors, but none had moved like this. Kale could see the flicker of fear in Thrax's glowing eyes, a hesitation he had never noticed before. Kale decided to test the limits of his newfound abilities. He ran toward a section of the arena where a series of platforms hovered over a bubbling lava pit. The platforms shifted rapidly, designed to throw off even the most skilled warrior. Thrax followed, confident in his strength. But Kale's tattoo-guided reflexes allowed him to move with precision. He leapt, twisted, and landed safely on a platform that Thrax missed by inches. The alien's massive hands struck the air, grasping for the human who had seemingly vanished. Kale smiled faintly. He was faster than Thrax could anticipate, and his mind was clearer than ever. The tattoo had unlocked something inside him, a harmony between mind, body, and legacy that no alien could match. The crowd erupted in excitement. Aliens whispered, gasped, and even cheered for the human who defied every expectation. Many had underestimated humans, but Kale's display of speed, strategy, and courage was undeniable. The tattoo was more than a symbol. It was proof that humanity's potential was limitless when paired with determination and skill. Thrax's frustration turned to anger. The alien swung with renewed fury, but Kale anticipated every move. He ducked, rolled, and struck again, destabilizing Thrax's balance. The massive warrior stumbled, his pride now wounded more than his body. Kale felt a surge of energy and confidence. He realized he could push further, but he also understood the responsibility that came with power. The tattoo's energy was a gift, not just for victory, but to inspire and prove that humans were capable of extraordinary things. With a sudden leap, Kale used the shifting platforms to his advantage once more. He vaulted high, twisting in midair to land behind Thrax. He tapped the alien's back with a precise strike, forcing Thrax to spin around, disoriented for the first time in his life. The arena fell silent for a moment. Even the loudest spectators held their breath. Aliens whispered among themselves, astonished that a human could move with such precision, speed, and power. Thrax had never faced an opponent like this, and now the realization was clear. Humans were not weak. Kale's tattoo glowed brightly, its energy resonating with every move he made. He felt the strength of his ancestors flowing through him, guiding his decisions and movements. He was no longer just Kale. He was the culmination of generations of human warriors, embodying courage, intelligence, and resilience. Thrax roared in fury, swinging wildly. Kale dodged effortlessly, feeling the rhythm of the battle as if it were a dance. Each movement was precise, calculated, and guided by both instinct and the tattoo's energy. He began to see patterns in Thrax's attacks, predicting the alien's next moves with clarity. With a sudden surge, Kale struck again, hitting a weak point just below Thrax's arm. The alien staggered, and Kale leapt back, landing gracefully on a platform. He could see the fear in Thrax's eyes now, a flicker of hesitation that had never existed before. Kale realized that the battle was no longer just about strength or skill. It was about proving humanity's potential. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, but here he was, demonstrating that courage, intelligence, and determination could rival even the mightiest warriors. The tattoo's glow began to fade slightly as Kale caught his breath. He knew he could not rely solely on its energy forever. The power it gave him was temporary, a spark to awaken his true potential. But he felt more confident than ever. Humans were more than their size or strength. They were resilient, clever, and adaptable. Thrax growled, his pride and anger mixing into a dangerous combination. Kale could see the alien recalculating, realizing that brute strength alone would not win this fight. The battlefield had become a test of strategy, skill, and courage. qualities humans had mastered in ways aliens could barely understand. Kale prepared for the next stage, knowing that the tattoo had revealed only a fraction of its power. He felt connected to his ancestors, to his human heritage, and to the legacy of warriors who had faced impossible odds. The battle was far from over, but Kale knew one thing. He had shown that humans were capable of greatness, and that alone was worth every challenge ahead. The arena buzzed with energy. Aliens whispered, some cheering, some in shock, all witnessing a human defy expectations. Thrax stared at Kale, his mind racing, realizing that he had underestimated not only the human before him but the potential of an entire species. Kale's tattoo glowed faintly, a reminder of strength, courage, and the legacy of humanity. He knew that the true test was coming, and he was ready. The arena had become more dangerous. Shifting platforms hovered above bubbling lava pits, while energy barriers crackled with electricity along the edges. Thrax roared in anger, frustration evident in every swing of his massive arms. Kale, however, moved with confidence now. He had discovered a rhythm between himself, the battlefield, and the tattoo's energy. Each movement felt sharper, faster, more precise. The tattoo pulsed faintly, almost alive, resonating with Kale's determination. It was more than just a mark. It was a connection to generations of human warriors who had faced impossible odds and survived. Kale felt their courage flowing through him, reminding him that humans were not defined by size or strength but by intelligence, adaptability, and heart. Thrax lunged again, swinging with all his strength. Kale rolled under the massive fist, letting the wind from the strike brush over his face. He landed softly, immediately springing toward a nearby rocky platform. From this higher position, Kale could see Thrax's stance, his weak points, and the openings created by the alien's overconfidence. The alien had grown predictable. Brute strength alone had carried him through countless battles, but Kale was no ordinary opponent. He moved with fluidity and intelligence, exploiting every small error Thrax made. Kale's eyes narrowed, his focus sharper than ever. He would not simply survive. He would turn this battle into a statement of humanity's potential. Kale leapt from the platform, twisting mid-air to land behind Thrax. He tapped the alien's side with precise force, destabilizing him. Thrax stumbled, the ground shaking under his weight. The crowd erupted in astonishment. No one had ever seen a human fight like this. Whispers spread throughout the arena. Humans are not weak, not even close. Kale's tattoo pulsed brighter, responding to his movements. He could feel the surge of energy, enhancing his reflexes, his speed, and his perception. Each dodge, each counterstrike, each movement was guided by instinct and ancestral strength. The tattoo was not just a tool for combat. It was a symbol of legacy, courage, and human resilience. Thrax's frustration became visible. The alien's attacks grew reckless, less precise. He swung wildly, attempting to overpower Kale with sheer force. But Kale anticipated each strike, moving with a rhythm that Thrax could not follow. Every step Kale took was calculated, each landing measured, exploiting the shifting terrain to his advantage. Kale saw an opportunity. A series of floating platforms hovered above a pit of molten lava, shifting rapidly. Thrax charged toward Kale, intending to crush him mid-jump. Kale leapt gracefully from one platform to another, landing perfectly, while Thrax miscalculated and stumbled dangerously close to the lava pit. The audience gasped. Even the most experienced alien warriors had never seen such agility combined with precision. Kale's movements were almost artistic, a blend of skill, instinct, and the mysterious energy of the tattoo. Thrax realized that brute strength would not be enough. He needed strategy, adaptability, and quick thinking. But these were not his strengths. Kale's mind raced. He had one goal: to prove that humans could fight with intelligence and courage even against the strongest adversaries. He moved like water, flowing around Thrax's attacks and using the battlefield itself as a weapon. Rocks, platforms, and shifting terrain became part of his strategy. With a sudden leap, Kale landed behind Thrax again, striking the alien's shoulder precisely. Thrax stumbled, confusion and frustration flashing in his glowing eyes. The alien roared in anger, realizing that he had underestimated this human, not just as a warrior but as a representative of an entire species. Kale's tattoo pulsed brighter still. The energy surged through him, connecting him with the courage of his ancestors and the strength of humanity. He moved faster, thinking quicker, reacting before Thrax could even begin to strike. The battle had turned completely in his favor, not through brute force but through strategy, skill, and human ingenuity. Thrax paused for a moment, his breathing heavy, muscles tense. He realized that the human's abilities were not natural. They were enhanced, guided by a legacy he could barely comprehend. Thrax's pride had been wounded, and now a flicker of fear appeared in his eyes. He had faced countless opponents, but never one who combined intelligence, courage, and agility so seamlessly. Kale seized the moment. He darted toward Thrax, dodging a swing, and landed a series of precise strikes that forced the alien backward. Each movement was calculated, not to harm unnecessarily, but to demonstrate the human's superiority in skill and strategy. Thrax's confidence wavered for the first time, his massive form trembling slightly as he realized the fight was slipping from his control. The crowd erupted in cheers, recognizing the display of extraordinary human potential. Aliens whispered among themselves, astonished. Humans had always been underestimated, but Kale was changing that perception with every strike, every movement, every pulse of his glowing tattoo. Kyle knew the fight was far from over, but he had achieved something important. He had demonstrated that humans could survive, adapt, and even excel against the strongest warriors in the galaxy. The arena had become a stage not just for a battle, but for a revelation. Humanity's potential was limitless when combined with courage, intelligence, and resilience. Thrax roared again, charging with renewed fury, but this time Kale was ready. He anticipated the swing, rolled under the massive fist, and used a platform to launch himself high into the air. Landing behind Thrax, Kale tapped another weak point, forcing the alien to stumble again. Thrax's glowing eyes reflected a mixture of fear, respect, and disbelief. Kale felt the tattoo's energy settle within him, steady but strong. He had proven his point. Humans were not weak. They were adaptable, intelligent, and courageous. And with the legacy of their ancestors guiding them, they could face even the mightiest opponents without fear. The arena buzzed with excitement. Aliens whispered, cheered, and stared in awe. Kale had not just fought. He had inspired. The battle had turned, and the respect of the crowd and even Thrax was slowly shifting toward the human who dared to challenge the impossible. The air was thick with anticipation as Kale faced Thrax one last time. The massive alien warrior's glowing eyes reflected a mixture of fury, disbelief, and most surprisingly, respect. Kale's movements had been unmatched. His speed, agility, and precision, enhanced by the glowing tattoo, had turned the battle into a demonstration of humanity's extraordinary potential. Thrax growled low, his massive chest heaving. "Human, you are unlike any warrior I have faced," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "There is strength in you, but strength alone does not define victory." Kale stood steady, breathing deeply. "I know," he said quietly. "Humans are not defined by strength alone. We adapt, we learn, and we fight with heart." He flexed his arm slightly, letting the tattoo glow faintly as a reminder of the legacy it carried. The crowd fell silent, sensing the tension in the final moments of the battle. Thrax charged one last time, swinging with immense force. Kale dodged effortlessly, using his speed and knowledge of the battlefield to evade the attack. With a quick leap, he landed precisely behind the alien, tapping a vital point that forced Thrax to lose balance. The alien's knees buckled. He stumbled, struggling to regain footing, but Kale remained calm. He could end the fight here with one more strike, yet he hesitated. Victory did not require cruelty. Humans had always valued honor alongside skill, and Kale intended to demonstrate both. Thrax roared, swinging again, but Kale sidestepped with ease. The tattoo pulsed faintly, not for offense, but for guidance. Kale saw the hesitation in Thrax's movements. The alien had realized that brute force alone could not defeat this human. Kale was not only a warrior, he was the embodiment of human resilience and strategy. Finally, Thrax fell to his knees, the fight over. The crowd erupted into cheers, the sound echoing across the arena. Aliens of every kind whispered in astonishment. Humans were not fragile. They were clever, courageous, and capable of facing even the strongest opponents with determination and intelligence. Kyle approached Thrax and extended a hand. "It's over," he said. "You fought well. But now you see what humans are capable of." Thrax looked up, his massive form trembling slightly. Slowly, he grasped Kale's hand, acknowledging the victory with honor. "I underestimated you," he admitted. You are not just a human, you are a legend. The arena erupted in applause. The alien spectators who had doubted humans now cheered. Their perception forever changed. Kale had not only won a battle, he had earned respect for his species across the galaxy. After the battle, Kale was approached by alien leaders. They studied the glowing tattoo on his arm, intrigued by its origins. Kale explained quietly, "It is a mark of my ancestors, warriors who protected our world and faced impossible odds. It reminds me that courage, intelligence, and determination are our true strength." The alien council nodded, impressed. Humans were rare in the arena, but Kale had demonstrated qualities that no alien could ignore. Word would spread across planets, and humans would no longer be underestimated. Kale stood beneath the glowing sky of Zorath, the tattoo on his arm faintly shimmering. He had proven that humanity could fight with strategy, courage, and heart. The journey had been long, the challenge immense, but Kale had shown that humans were extraordinary. As he left the arena, Thrax watched silently, a newfound respect in his eyes. Kale's actions had inspired not just humans but aliens across the galaxy. His victory was not just personal, it was a statement. Humans were capable of greatness, and this was only the beginning. Kyle looked up at the stars, feeling the pulse of his ancestors within him. The tattoo had revealed a truth. Humans were not fragile. They were intelligent, courageous, and adaptable. And with those qualities, they could face any challenge anywhere in the universe. The battle was over, but Kale's journey, and humanity's rise, was just beginning.